2001 Subaru Outback with a 3-liter radiator replacement. I'm Brian Eslick from How To Automotive. I'm going to walk you through the process of changing that out. So the first step we need to do is get this air snorkel out. So you'll just remove the tin here, and the tin here, and then remove the snorkel. So my car is an automatic and it has transmission cooler lines. So we need to lift the vehicle up and remove the lower shield here to get to the cooler lines. So it looks like they just have a couple bolts here and there. So we're going to remove the bolts, kind of just follow them around the outer perimeter of the shield and remove it. Mine's kind of held on with some wire ties and zip ties and stuff. It's been seen better days. Anyway, so go ahead and remove your lower shield. So now that you got the lower shield off on the right side or the passenger side, you can open the screw here and that'll drain the coolant out. So get you a bucket handy. And then remove the hose clamp, remove the transmission cooler line here. Right here is the electrical connector for the fan, so you can go ahead and squeeze tab and unplug that. And remove the hose clamp here and remove the transmission cooler line here. And then right here is another electrical connector for the fan. Go ahead and unplug that. And then you can go ahead and remove the lower hose after you get it drained. So I got my coolant draining, and before I take my clamps off, what I'm going to do is put a couple of these hose crimps on the transmission cooler lines, and that way when I take it off, I only lose an ounce or so or whatever's in the cooler. I don't lose the lines, don't drain out, and it reduces the amount of transmission fluid that drains out. So go ahead and remove your lower hose, 2 transmission cooler lines, 2 electric connectors for the fan, and then lower the vehicle back down. Now that we got the vehicle back down on the ground, I'm going to go ahead and remove the hose clamp here, remove the overflow hose here, and the hose clamp here, and go ahead and remove those hoses. And then I'm going to take the 10mm bolt here and here off the bottle and lift the bottle up and take it out too. So I tried to take the bottle out, and it doesn't want to come out clearance-wise. So what I think I could do is just leave it in there. And I think I can lift the whole radiator out with all in one assembly. So what I'm going to do is remove the bolt here and take these and set them aside. And then all the hoses and everything are disconnected. So what I'm going to do is grab the fan on each side and lift straight up vertically and try to lift the whole radiator, fan shroud, and coolant reservoir bottle all out as one assembly. Yes, I was right. The radiator came out as all one piece like that. So now what I'm going to do is unbolt the bolts on the fan here and transfer it over to the radiator, and unbolt that fan and transfer it over in the bottle and everything, and bolt everything back up to the new radiator. And then I'll just, so now that your fans are bolted up, you can go ahead and put the bottle back on, and that little nipple on the end just stabs right down there. So just gonna stab it in your fan like so, and then start the bolts and tighten them down. So after restarting my bottle back on, and I went ahead and put the hose back on, so you tuck it back in the little grooves in the fan and you put your hose clamp back on. So now we're just about ready to reinstall the fan, but we're going to check one thing before we do that. So we're going to check here on the inside of is for these little rubber grommets. They need to be here. So you're going to make sure they didn't fall out when you were transferring it. And now that these are there, they're going to stab on the ends of a radiator here. So we need to lower the radiator down into the car where these stab into the rubber grommets. Okay, now that the radiator is stabbed back in there, you can go ahead and put these brackets back on. So you hook them over the little rubber nipple, start your bolts, both on the left and right side. Now that those are bolted back up, you can go ahead and put your hoses back on. So put both of the upper hoses on and tighten the clamps down. And then if you haven't tightened this clamp down yet, go ahead and put this hose on and tighten this back down. Now that all the hoses are bolted up, we can go ahead and put our air snorkel back on. So we'll just go ahead and hook it into the boot there and start our tins. And then after we get that tightened down, we're going to lift the vehicle back up. Now we can go ahead and reinstall our lower radiator hose and tighten it up. Reinstall our 2 transmission cooler lines and tighten those up. Plug our electrical connector in for our fan. And then also you want to make sure that all the hoses route back into little clips and everything. And then make sure the petcock over here, even though it should be brand new and should come up already been closed, but just double check it. Plug in your electrical connector, and so now that the fan are all plugged in, the transmission cooler lines are all secure, and the lower radiator hose is secure. Go ahead and put your lower shield back up, and then lower the vehicle down. Now you can fill it up with the proper coolant, and also you may have lost a little bit of transmission fluid if yours was an automatic. And the dipstick for the transmission is back here. So just on the right side of the, or if you're on the side of the master cylinder here, is the dipstick for the transmission. So doing this job, you may have lost an ounce or two of transmission fluid, so you might want to double check your transmission fluid level before you go drive it. And you want to run it till your AC fan, cooling fans come on and run. So what I like to do is run these cars after I start them up with the air conditioning off, heaters off, nothing on, and let them run until the cooling fans cycle on and off. It takes about 15 minutes or so to let them run. You may help it out by giving it some RPM and increasing the RPMs to get the engine warmed up a little faster. And then after the fans come on and run, I just double check my level, put my radiator cap on, and go for a test drive. After I'm done with my test drive, I'll let it cool down for 30-40 minutes, and then take the radiator cap off and recheck the level again one more time, and also look around, make sure there's no other leaks in the system, and that'll complete the radiator replacement on a 2001 Subaru Outback with the 3.0 liter engine. I'm Brian Eslick from How to Automotive. I'd like to thank you guys for watching my videos and encourage you to subscribe. Thank you again.